guys, welcome back to Creativity and Inspiration. How's everyone doing? If you're new, welcome. I'm glad you found us. And if you keep coming back, thank you. Today is all about markers. I'm sure you saw the post in the community post area where I posted that big picture of markers. If you didn't, there it is. We're going to talk all about markers. I'm going to go over all the ones you see in the picture, kind of give you my thoughts and feelings on them. Would I buy them again? I'm also going to show you how you can use them, whether it's for art, journaling, planners, whatever. So we're just going to jump in. Before we do, I want to say this week on YouTube, I've never done this before, but this whole week kind of has a theme, and it's layering. And I know that sounds maybe a little weird, maybe not, but on Wednesday, I'll be posting a video about layering canvases. Like actual painting canvases. And then on Friday, it's all about creating mixed media, journaling cards, tags, whatever you want to use the techniques for. So this week is going to deal with a lot of layering. But there's also going to be some other things. My son and I are talking football games today. But there's going to be a lot of talk about layering, how to layer, how you can create with that, but also a lot of other things. So I hope you'll join me all week. But today, it's all about the marker. So come on and let's jump in. Hey guys, so today we are talking all about markers and ways that you can use them in your journals, in planners, or for art. First, I'm going to talk about these three. These are the inexpensive Michaels watercolor dual tip markers. These are the primary colors. These are ohuhu dual tip brush pens, and I say these are in neutrals. These are pastels. These are Primrosa pastels. They're also dual tip. And then I'm moving away from dual tip. I, of course, have all of my Poscas, which, if you know me, you know I love Posca markers. These are the Earth set. This is the pastel set. This is the skin tone set. The dark color set, and then this is the primary basic set. They have two more sets I'd like to get, the grayscale set, and then there's an ocean set, which, as you can imagine, is shades of blue. Then I have my Faber-Castell. These are the Pitt Artist Pens, big brush markers, permanent markers. They're beautiful. I also have the Faber-Castell shades of gray and the Faber-Castell skin tones. And I have Arteza 24 real brush pens. Now the Arteza, the Faber-Castell, and the Posca are not dual tipped. They are single tipped. I love all of these. These are water-based ink. The Arteza ones, they're blendable. They're all beautiful in their own ways. I also have some Crayola marker ones. I have some Ecoline alcohol ink markers. So I have a ton of markers. And we probably all do, but do we use them? Do we really use them? And I think that that's something that most of us kind of struggle with. We get them and we think, oh, I'm going to use them for this, this, and this. And we end up maybe using them one way. So I'm here to give you some ideas how you can use them in multiple ways. And today I'm going to focus on the dual tipped markers, just because with dual tipped, you're basically getting a 2-in-1 marker. Okay, because I'll show you with these. Well, let me show you with one of these. They're all the same. Okay, I'll show you with one of these. These actually come out way easier. On the dual tip, you have one end that is bigger and more like a brush, wider. And then the other end is your fine tip. So you're getting a 2-in-1 marker when you get dual tip. That's why I like dual tip. So what can you do with these? Basically, you can do anything your heart desires. They're that versatile, but we have to pull them. We have to get them out, put them with our stuff, and use them. So how would you use them? Just to give you a few ideas. I got this little sketchbook from a Dollar Tree. And if you've never used a sketchbook before and you want to see if you like it, if you want to start a sketchbook practice, the Dollar Tree one's a great place to start. The ones from Dasso Japanese Dollar Tree, I think they're like $3, is also a great way to start. So check those out. I'll show you the Dasso one. Well, here. I have several, and they come in, my Dasso had them in multiple sizes, from large. Oh, actually, I don't have one. I'll pull one before we go and show you those. But today we're going to use the Dollar Tree one so I can show you different ways that you can use markers for art. So there's a plant, and I've given the illusion it's in the corner of a room by just putting in 3 lines, okay? So how can you use markers? Well, one, you could color this whole image in with markers. It would look great. Hold on, let me move out of the way of the light. Sorry about that. It's actually sunny here. Okay, there we go. So one, you could color this whole image in. It would look amazing. It would look amazing. So, of course, you could use them like paint and just color your whole image. Another way you could do it is to use them to create the shadow in the room. Say this is, give the illusion that this corner I made is dark over here. You could use your markers to convey that darkness. Say you painted this. You can use markers on top of paint once it's dried. So keep that in mind. But I'm just going to use them without painting or coloring this in. I want to give the illusion that this corner is dark. So I'm going to show you one way you could do that. And I'm actually going to pull the Faber-Castell Shades of Gray. And I'm going to use this color right here, which is, does it even say? No, it does not, but that's okay. And one way to create a shadow in a corner, going away from the plant if you want, is to add dots or stippling. And to make the shadow effect, you would put your dots close together. Now I'm acting like they're turning a wall because it's a wall. It's got a corner, so I want them to not be flat. I want to give them the illusion that it's dark in this corner. And you see, by putting them close together, you're getting the effect of a shadow. So stippling close together, just a bunch of little dots super close together, gives the illusion of a shadow. Now, as I move away from my corner, that shadow is going to get less and less, right? So my dots are going to get farther and farther apart. That tells the viewer, your eye, yourself, that as you're moving away, the shadow is getting less and less. So you can use your markers to create shadowing by stippling. Another way to create shadow remember, you always have to think, where is your light source? So if I have shadow over here, then my light source is going to be coming towards me off camera because the shadow is behind my light source. So I would have, again, there would be a shadow coming off the pot because it's blocking some of the light, right? So I might have the pot shadow coming this way, and you can do the pot shadow two ways. You could just scribble it in if you wanted to. You could do something like making lines, and because your pot is curved, you're going to want to give the effect that your shadow is curved. So you can use hatching, which is just either vertical lines close together or horizontal lines, vertical lines close together like that. Now, if you came in with lines one way and then came across a different way, that's cross hatching, but it does the same thing. You're creating shadow by cross hatching. So, and the last way you can create shadow is, of course, I'm going to my watercolor markers now, the dual tip, is to darken the edge of your flower pot where the shadow is. And this side is in shadow, so you would darken it like that and create a shadow. So markers, as you see, are great for creating the effect of shadow and light. What else can you use markers for? Well, let's color in our leaves. So I'm gonna start over here, and I'm gonna start with this light green. Excuse me while I get this out off camera, because the only thing about them being in these things is they get kind of stuck. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna pull out the light green. I'm gonna pull out this green. And I'm gonna pull out, oh, don't go anywhere. And I'm going to pull out this green and decide which two I want to work with. Or three, I might use all three. All right, so let's layer. And first, I'm gonna go in with this medium color, which is this kind of olive green. And I'm using the big end, and I'm going to color in my leaves with this olive green color. And I'm just coloring like I normally would, not doing anything different. I'm going to do this one too. I'm not going to do them all, but I'm going to do a couple so you can get the idea. All right, so I'm going to let that dry for just a minute. Because you are using a wet medium, you do have to let it dry for a minute. And while that's drying, I think I'll come down and color my planter down here at the bottom. And again, I'm gonna pull a light blue. Now, I'm gonna go back up here to my leaves, and I'm gonna add some dark to this underside. On both of these, I'm gonna kind of blend this dark in. I'm gonna kind of just work it in. And then I'm gonna come in with this light. I'm assuming my light's up here now. And come in and just hit it with a little bit of the light. And you notice the color I'm getting is beautiful. And that's because the colors are layering. And there we go. And then to make this dark green kind of blend with the other colors, I'm going to go over it again with this first color. But I'm going to use this one. There we go. Because I want to take some of that blue out. That green doesn't really go with the other two, unfortunately. But this is how, if you ever pull a color and you think it goes with the colors you've pulled and it doesn't, just go back over it with your first color and it'll be fine. Now I'm coming back off of it into the leaf a little bit, just to bring that darker in just a bit. And there you go. So now you have beautiful layering that makes your leaves look a little more realistic. And then you can come in this very center if you wanted to. So layering, you can use markers to layer. Do your medium color first, add your dark color second, and then your light on top of that. But make sure before you add the layers that they dry. That way they'll show up better and better. Okay, the blue is fairly dry. Now I'm gonna come in, these colors probably don't go. Let's try this color right here. Yeah, this one will probably work. And I'm gonna add some design. But again, I'm layering my color, but I wanna show you that you can treat them just like colored pencils, just like markers, just like anything else. I mean, just like colored pencils, just like anything else. You could also have it kind of coming up from the bottom and have it kind of gradually going darker to lighter. And if you had a blending tool, you could blend it in and kind of smudge it in and bring it up and smudge it. And it will kind of be ombre effect, okay? So don't be afraid to create your light and darkness, but color the whole image in. Don't forget if you want to create an ombre effect or create a light dark effect. Don't be afraid to do different things. I was hoping that was a little bit different, but it's not. But you could ombre it up from darker to a lighter, medium, darker, medium, lighter. So we have stippling, we have cross hatching, we have just making the side thicker. So we have all the different techniques for shadowing. We have layering, we have adding details and creating a kind of ombre effect, as you can see in there. It's going to go lighter to darker. So when you have markers, don't be afraid to use them. Also, if you have, say you have a journal page and you want to create an, yes, I'm ignoring the fact that it bled through because this is just a Dollar Tree sketchbook and this is just an example. But if you want to use a Dollar Tree sketchbook, take note, it did bleed through. Say you want to create a stenciled, an image, like a watermark. You know, pick your marker you want to use. Pick whatever light color you want to use, and you could stencil it on, you could draw it on, whatever, but you could use markers for that. Say this is my journal page. my journal page is about trees, and I want to do a light watermark tree in the center. So I'll come in with whatever marker I choose, and with a very light hand, I will come in and add in my tree. But then I could still journal over it if I wanted to. Okay, you could definitely create a watermark that way. Another way to create shadow is simping, or it's called, you just make a lot of squiggles, and the bigger or looser they are, the more light gets through. If you crowd them up, they're going to be more like shadow. But that's another way to create light and shadow. It's a fun way. I call it just doodling, but they call it that weird simping. So you could do it that way. And you could still write over this. You could make it lighter or thinner if you wanted. If you really wanted it light, you could come in with, if you have the dual end, you could come in with the other end and create it with the thinner end and create the simping lighter. See there, it's way lighter with that, with the fine point end. So it's going to be whatever you want, but use them for watermarking pages. Use them for edging your journals. Maybe you want to create an edge around, maybe you want to create, oh, this goes over here, sorry. Maybe you want to create a tea stain effect or an edge, a light edge. Remember, you can always take a larger end and just kind of come up to it and brush along it. Especially if you have markers but you don't have a color ink that you particularly want. Just come in and color your edge with your marker. And you can do this as light or as heavy as you want. As you can see, I did it real heavier there, and I did it real light across the top. It's just barely showing up. Let's see, it's there. Or I did heavier. You could even bring it down from there if you wanted a little bit. All the way around. Just do it real lightly. You could also use your markers to create border edges around the page if you want to create a page, but you didn't want to, you know, go pull lace or something, or maybe you don't have the type of border edge that you want to do. You can always take your marker and kind of add some leaves off of it. Here and there. Like that. So you could use them to create borders. Could also create like an eye, almost like an eyelet border. So don't discount your markers because you don't know how to use them. There's actually a ton of ways you can use them. You can also use different colors and create the same effect with the leaves. Let me show you. We'll do this leaf kind of yellow. And then we'll come around with the green. One of the best ways is to kind of smudge them in when they're kind of wet. There you go. Because, you know, I don't know if y'all do this, but sometimes my plants get a little, you know, the leaves turn a little yellow. You could add in some brown spots if you needed to. So don't be afraid to mix colors when you're layering, when you're blending. You can blend two colors in the same family. Here's how our pot turned out. So there's a lot of ways to use markers in your art. Now, which markers do I really recommend? And I think since I did this video recommending markers last time, I've kind of grown in my marker use, which is exciting. Because we all need to grow in different mediums. It's just fun. And I think I've learned more about markers and how to use different markers. And that's what I'm going to say to you, what I'm about to say. It's good to have all different kinds, all different colors, because some days you may not feel like primary colors, or some days you may not feel like neutral colors or pastels. So have a good range of colors. Now, you don't have to spend a fortune to get great markers. I love these watercolor markers from, I think it's Michaels. The Artist Loft is Michaels. These are from Michaels, basic set. I'll try to find the price and put it up on the screen. These are great. I have some Crayola ones. Those are great as well. Now, if you want a real paint marker besides the watercolor markers, the Posca, they are pricey, but they are really, really good. You can buy individual Posca markers at art stores. You don't have to buy packs. So say you're looking at this dark color and you're like, ooh, I like that. I like that berry pink and that green, that deep dark forest green. Oh, and I like that red. I want those three, but I don't want the purple, the yellow, or the black and white brown. Art stores sell Posca markers individually, okay? So you could build a collection of Posca markers of just the colors you want, which is perfect. Do that and get what you want, and that way you don't have a lot that you don't use. The Arteza markers are good, like I said, but they're water-based markers. So if you get a set like this, maybe 2 different sets with a little more range, that's all you would need. The Crayola markers are great markers if you want a set of just great dependable markers. Those are good. The Faber-Castell, you know, they had their day a long time ago. And I mean, they're still great, but they are pricey. I got these like 5 years ago, and they were not that expensive. Now they are, and they're harder to find. But if you want some, I would suggest these sets. The big Stampers Big Brush Pens. These are really cool, beautiful colors. I love them. Now I'm going to show you this. This is another way you can use markers. Is, you notice they just kind of scribbled on the shadows. Did the shadows with just heavy marking. You can do that as well. Okay, so just another way to add shadow. So guys, as far as markers go, like I'm saying, I would get one inexpensive set like the Michael set, okay? It doesn't have to be this brand, but any inexpensive set of watercolor dual tip markers, and maybe get a range of primary colors and a range of soft pastels or neutrals. And then if you really like Posca, but you know they are pricey, you don't want to spend the money, go to your art store and buy just the colors you want, or start getting just the colors that you want. These are nice. These are really pretty, as you can see. I use these a lot as well. The ones I have that I would say, if you have these, if you have Posca, or if you have these neutral ones and the pastels, you don't need these, okay? I will tell you right now, you don't need these. And the Faber-Castell ones, I wouldn't buy again. Like I got those 4 years ago. Those were actually my first markers besides Crayola that I ever owned. So once the Faber-Castells all run out, I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use these. But do invest in dual tip. I think that is the best thing anybody can do, because you get 2 for 1. No matter what colors or what brand, get dual tip. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video about different ways you can use markers in art, sketchbook, journals, however you want to use them. Come back on Wednesday, because we're going to talk about layering canvases. It's going to be cool. It's going to give you some different ideas if you want to create art for your space, or with the holidays coming, if you need gift ideas, or if you just want to try something new because you're like me and you like to kind of test your art limits. How far can you go and what can you accomplish? I'll see you back on Wednesday for that. And again, the video on texture is up, so go check that out on my Patreon. 7-day free trial, guys. Oh, don't forget, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, and don't forget, click the little bell. Leave me a comment down below. What type of markers do you use? How do you use them in your creating? How do you use markers? Bye, guys.